Hello and welcome to this video log on UnveilingJesusChrist.com. On our first night in Luxor, Egypt, we took in the night show in the Karnak Temple complex. Karnak is a mix of temples, pylons, chapels, and other buildings. Construction of this temple began almost 2,000 years BC and continued to somewhere between 330 BC. Most of the existing buildings date from about 1570 to 1070 BC. Karnak was originally called hatshepsut, meaning the most select of places. The modern name of Karnak comes from the nearby village El Karnak, which means fortified village. Thebes is the ancient name of Karnak and was the first capital city of unified Egypt. The temple complex has four main parts, and only the largest is currently open to the public. It is the precinct of Amun-Re. In the Egyptian, Amun means hidden, or the hidden god. It's identified with the ram and the goose, so we find a lot of ram's heads in his precinct. The three other parts of the temple that are closed are the precinct of Mut, the precinct of Montu, and the dismantled temple of Amenhotep IV, the pharaoh who established a nearly monotheistic religion. The original temple was destroyed, and many portions of it were carried away for use in other buildings. It partially was restored by a female pharaoh called Hatshepsut. In another vlog, I'll be visiting the temple of Hatshepsut, and we'll talk a little bit more about her. The key difference between Karnak and most of the other temples and sites in Egypt is the length of time it was developed and used. Approximately 30 pharaohs contributed to the buildings, which enabled it to reach a size, complexity, and diversity not seen elsewhere. Few of the individual features of Karnak are unique, but their size and number are vast. Deities represented a range from some of the earliest of those that were worshipped to much later. Adaptations seen in the buildings of the ancient Egyptians were used by later cultures, including the Coptics, which were the Egyptian Christian churches. The last major change added in the temple at Karnak was the first pylon or obelisk and the massive enclosure walls around the precinct of Amun-Re. Both pylons that you see in the photographs were constructed between 380 and 362 BC, and both were built by Hatshepsut. In 323 AD, Constantine the Great recognized the Christian religion as the state religion of the Roman Empire. His successor, Constantius II, ordered the closing of all pagan temples throughout the Roman Empire in 356 AD. Now, Egypt had been annexed into the Roman Empire in 30 BC. By the time this annexation occurred, Karnak had been mostly abandoned and Christian churches were founded among the ruins. The most famous example of this is the reuse of the festival hall of Thutmose III, where the cultural hall has painted decorations of saints and Coptic inscriptions. This is the great hypostyle hall in the precinct of Amun-Re. It's about 50,000 square feet and includes 134 massive columns in 16 rows. 122 of the columns are 33 feet tall, 12 columns are 69 feet tall, and their diameter are all almost 10 feet. Some of the chief beams on the top are estimated to weigh as much as 70 tons. Before the Temple of Karnak was constructed, the previous temple at Thebes was relatively small and built to the earth goddess Mut and Montu. Major construction in the precinct of Amun-Re occurred between 1550 and 1292 BC. Almost every pharaoh of that dynasty added something to the temple site. The twin obelisks at the time were the tallest in the world and placed at the entrance to the temple. One still stands as the second tallest of the ancient world, and the other has fallen. Hatshepsut ordered construction of 2 more obelisks to celebrate her 16th year, but one broke during construction, and so a third had to be constructed to replace it. It's kind of interesting because the broken obelisk was left at the quarry in Aswan, where it still remains, and it's pretty instructive on how they constructed these obelisks. The precinct of Amun-Re is the largest of the precincts in the temple complex. There are several colossal statues of Amun-Re that are 34 feet tall. The sandstone for the temple, including all the columns, were transported from Gebel Sisila, which is 100 miles to the south on the Nile River. So fortunately that's upstream, so not too hard to get it down, even though it was 100 miles. So there you have a few insights into the temple at Karnak. Enjoy the rest of the sites in this video log brought to you by UnveilingJesusChrist.com.